Okay, just to review last week's session about the fact that the Makos were the vehicle to bring Klal Yisrael out of the Memtesh Tuma. The whole concern was that the Jewish people, if they stayed in Mitzrayim one moment longer, that they would sink down to the 50th gate of impurity, if such a gate actually exists, and that the reason why we had to bake matzah, we eat matzah, is because we left Bechipazon, we left very quickly because of the fact that Jewish people were holding Mem Tashar Tumah, but the Lashon explains and brings out and proves basically that that's not true, that really that was only applicable, or at least it was only true before Makas Dam, before the plague of Dam, that the plague of blood, had Hashem not stepped into history at that time in advance of Makas Dam, which is 191 years earlier than the Gula was supposed to come, and the Jewish people would have sunken down to the end of the 49th level of impurity, the 50th level, doesn't matter really at that point in time, not a huge nafkamina, so to speak, but at that point, Hashem had to stop the downward slide into impurity. But once the plagues began, once the Makkos began, then the Jewish people ascended from level to level. Each Makkah was a different gil, a different level of revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in the world. And as a result of that, by the time Leil Seder came around, the 50th, by the time the Jewish people were doing the Korban Pesach and eating the matzah and the maror in Mitzrayim, those who survived Makas Choshech had completely left the Mem Teshar Tumah. The 49 levels of spiritual impurity were completely pure, completely out of it, which is why Mitzrayim was on the verge of destruction. The reason we had to leave quickly was because the Jewish people had not chosen the redemption. Had we stayed there a little bit longer, had we chosen, put it this way, had the Jewish people chosen the Gula, the Jewish people chosen redemption on their own, at any point in time, okay, we say that we didn't do it in advance of the plagues, but at some point in time, if the Jewish people had realized on their own that that's what had to be done, and they chose the Gula with all their koyach, all their might, then perhaps we could have stayed a little bit longer, and that would have brought the light of God then into creation even more so, and that would have destroyed evil, and the Sitra Achra, and the Yitzhahara, and therefore the Mitzrayim. That would have all been a product of all of that. And therefore, we wouldn't have to worry about the rest of history and all the anti-Semitism and all the other Galios, all the other exiles that we've gone through since then. So the matzah is a reminder each year of a choice that we have to make, and we're still not making, obviously, when Jews choose to stay in America or Canada or England or to live in Eretz Yisrael, without any yearning for the Beis Hamikdash, without a desire to be and live here as Jews in Eretz Yisrael, right, then that's also a part of not choosing the redemption. That's also pushing off the Geula, which we're responsible for. And we pay a price for that, always an exile. Anyhow, the Leshem goes on to discuss the Kabbalah behind all this, but he actually comes back later on. He says, had the Gula been as a result of their own merit, that had been the real reason for the redemption, as opposed to the promise made to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in Bris and Basarim by Abraham Avinu, that eventually would go out, and later on to Yitzchak and Yaakov, reiterating the promise to the Jewish people who eventually take the land of Eretz Yisrael. Had we ourselves merited in Mitzrayim the Gula, Harei lo nistalik mehem kol ha'aretz ha'gedolim hanizkar, right? Then HaKadosh Baruch would not have had to take away the fantastic lights that came down for the sake of redemption. Ela Rabbi, just the opposite. Shahayu hochim umisalim ilui leilui ad ein kates. The Jewish people would have been able to keep ascending. Not that it was taken away from them after, because you see, after they leave Mitzrayim, that they have a fall. They fall by Yamsuf, by Kriyas Yamsuf. They're back to being scared of the Egyptians once again, and they're holding on a much lower level until Kriyas Yamsuf itself, and finally even the Shifcha sees more than the Virashonim see later on in history. But we lose the light, the fantastic, spectacular light that Hashem shines down for the sake of Yitzis Mitzrayim. We lose that temporarily because we did not have the merit of our own to leave Mitzrayim. But had we had made the choice, had we done that which was necessary to bring about the redemption, so the light would not have been taken away, and as a result of that, the Jewish people would have gone from level to level, which has been perfect. Yemasa Mashiach would have begun. That's the main point. Yemasa Mashiach, and all the history since then would not have been necessary, basically. But that's what would have happened, right? Adin Kate, Hagam, Shaydizeh, Harei, Hayen is Bata Behem, Koicha Bechir, and as a result of that, then the Koich of free will would have been taken away, but that's okay, because it wouldn't require free will anymore, be a Muslim Mashiach already, right? Kinizker Acharei Zel Be'emes Ratna Matzis Bar Shemo B'Kvanaso Michlai Yisrael Shiger Mu B'Maiseyim B'Schusa. But the whole point is that Kosh Baruch Hu wants it to be that the Jewish people will bring about the Gula on their own. That's his Ratzon, at least at the beginning of history, at least, at the middle of history. At the end of history, already may be too late to use our free will to actually choose the final redemption. Bittul Yitzhahara Ma'oidlam Yiskadesh Kol Olam Kula B'Kedusha Shemo Yisbarach, right? That through our free will and our Maisim Tovim, our mitzvahs, and basically just our own choices, that we bring the world to a level of complete Kedusha and holiness, right? And godliness. Kamosh Yebi Yemos Mashiach, just like it will be in Yemos Mashiach. Shein B'Hem Lo Schus V'Lo Chova, a time when there won't be any merit or demerit, basically because there will be no Bechir. But the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be quite complete, and therefore there'll be no evil in the world, disappear from the world, right? Kinizka, right? Ki arei zehu hatachlis ikari masiba muchavedet. That's the ultimate reason for my separations. That's the real reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made all of this, that we, through our free will, should choose to bring Hashem into the world, obliterate evil, and bring in Masa Mashiach. That's Achi Shana, bringing Mashiach early, as spoken about in the Gemara in Sanhedrin and Sadi Ches Amin Aleph over there. That's the ultimate way to bring Mashiach. It's the way we're trying to do it. The clock is ticking. We're running out of time. We haven't done it because we haven't done it. We just haven't done what's been meant to be done in the end. Since the Geula was not in the merit of the Jewish people at all, the Chein Huchrach, it was a necessity. So therefore, Kodesh Baruch Hu take back all these fantastically high lights that came down. And all that was left behind in the end was just a roshim, just an impression, just like a remainder, a taste of what once was. We experienced it, we saw it. Like Moshe coming down the mountain later on with the luchos, it left an impression upon us, but not the light itself, right? Kadei shisneheg mi'az lahalo rak aydis chusam u'ma'aseihem shehu b'koicha b'chir. In order, Hashem said, look, I gave you a taste of it. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. You didn't choose the gula like you're supposed to. So you tasted it. Now go rebuild it by yourself. It's a klal, right? Hashem will always give us the inspiration. He'll always give us a taste of how Geula can come about, whether personally, nationally, internationally. And then he says, now, go do it for yourself, because that's the way you earn your schar in the world to come, right? V'hinei. Zehu omer katam lechomer isur chametz b'Pesach, right? This week's Parsha is Parashas Bo. We have the mitzvah of Karban Pesach, of matzah, of not any chometz, right? It's real chomer. It's a real strict avera that during the week of Pesach you can't even have a mashahu. Normally, isurim like treif, blood, dam, or chalev, or things like that, they can be batal a certain amount. They can be batal, right? In most circumstances, a drop of milk falls into a pot of meat, right? A pot of children. If it happens accidentally, gets stirred around, it's mixed inside. If the proportion of milk to meat is less than 1/60th, then basically, you're going to be able to bottle the milk. A kilo is not there, and it's completely kosher. You can eat that now at this point in time, but not by chametz. Chametz during the 7 days of Pesach or 8 days in Chutz La'aretz, right? That even a mashahu can answer everything. There's no bittul of chametz from the time the Pesach comes in until the end of the week of Pesach itself, right? So why is it so strict? Why specifically is chametz such a strict isser? Because chometz comes in the level of gvura. Gvura, there's two main koiches in creation: chesed, which is kindness and love, and happiness, and all these things. So gvura is strength. It's the source of din, right? Right? Gvura in creation, you have evil in creation, and evil has no independent source